On here, idiots.
Hey, what's going on, man? It's Wordsmith. Thanks for having me on the show.
You got the album coming out, and it's a little different because it's broken down into 4 chapters. Can you elaborate?
Man, I mean, basically, I'm a theater buff, man. I got my bachelor's in theater back in college and everything. So, even in regards to my music, I try to incorporate that theater aspect. And I wanted to do something different. I mean, I lived in a lot of different parts growing up because my pops was in the Army, so I've seen a lot of culture growing up, and I've heard a lot of different, music and so forth. So I wanted to basically just create a movie on wax, where it's even scored on my album. My brother Professor even scored my album like a movie. So I think, people really love the product on there.
Did you have any reservations about doing this creative thing? Because I think so much now, I don't think people are really paying attention to the creativity and stuff like that. So is there any fear going into this project, or do you feel confident with it being this way?
I feel confident because basically the 4 chapters that it's broken up into, you're getting that straight hip-hop chapter for the backpackers and the underground guys. You're getting that commercial section for people that maybe don't get on the internet blogs or the major sites and only listen to radio in their cars, and so forth. I have that section of the album that's just real lyrical for cats that just like to be in ciphers, and I have a section in there that even has, even some gospel type flavor music in there, and it's more about inspiration and uplifting everybody. So I think the album has everything, and I named it Vintage Experience just because I want the product to be an experience. And even when you see my live show, it's real theatrical. I use a lot of props. I work out hard for my shows, so I want people, when they see my show, it's really an experience, something you go away talking about, man.
Wordsmith on the line right now, On Air Idiot Show. Now, I got to ask you this, man. Like, your business savvy is really exploring other endeavors right now. And, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you got a deal in Japan, right?
I do, man. Shout to Joint One out there, my man Shuz and DJ Joey Slick. They actually got a station that's called Joint One Radio, and it's on 76.1 out there and 88.9 Kiss Kobe out there, and that's basically the 2 biggest urban radio stations out in Japan. And they I have a marketing deal with them, so they pretty much get my image around out there. They brand my name. They got me the big deal I had got with Nintendo Wii last year when I scored some music for their game Mad World that ended up being one of the biggest games that came out in 2009. I was able to write music on that, and I was through Joint One, so props to them, man.
Nah, that's a big look right there, especially getting some music placed on Nintendo Wii.
Yeah, man. Hey, I mean, I'm sitting here next to my kids right now. I don't think he has every game system, but you know what I mean? Sad that, for your father to be on a game or something like that, I know it's got to be cool for him because I was a video game junkie when I grew up.
Right.
How frustrating is it on a daily basis, just with the politics of the industry and everything else? Because there's so many people who, they can rap very well. You know what I mean? They have that skill, but then when it comes down to the politics and the business side of it, it could become so discouraging because of all the nonsense that you have to deal with. How discouraging is that for you? And what, if anything, what do you look to keep you going, to keep pushing forward?
Right now, I'm a real self-motivated person. That's just always I've been that way, and I think I got a lot of that from playing sports growing up. You know what I mean? I found that a lot of people that play sports in this game are the ones that are probably the most motivated, moving forward. Other than that, man, just being honest, and I'm going to be blunt about this, there's so much garbage music playing right now that's my motivation right there.
We agree!
Yeah.
We agree!
Yes. You know what I mean? So, it's that right there alone is like, man, let's get back to buying quality albums where you can pop it in and listen to everything. I know we're in the iTunes era, but when you're only buying like track 4 and 5 or somebody's album, that's not good. You know what I mean? You need to still make the listener and the consumer go out and say, hey, I might like tracks 4, 5, 6, and 7, but I'm going to buy this whole album because, you know what, it's good. It's got good quality to it. So I would just say, man, a lot of the bad music out here keeps me motivated to put out good stuff.
And that's a nice segue into your Revolt Radio situation, the podcast. Can you elaborate on that?
First off, man, if I even get into it, I want to say just thanks, to you guys for even bringing it up, man. I respect y'all for even doing that, man. But with the Revolt Radio, actually started it in March of last year, just as a small podcast, and now we have syndication on a station called Mix the Wax out in France, Unheard Radio as well. And we had a little bit of syndication down in North Carolina State for most of last year as well on 88.1, which is a major college station. So we move fast, man. It's hosted by my cousin. It's go by the name of Black Knight. He does a great job of hosting. We got 4 DJs, man. We got DJ Tenacious, and he used to spin on OC 104 out in Maryland. DJ Yakul is a fleet DJ, and also Coast to Coast DJ. My man DJ Leche as well. And it's just a nice team, man. And I got another guy named DJ Nominal. And he actually used to be the music director down in North Carolina State. So,
right.
Man, it was I got a nice team that came together, man, for Revolt Radio. And we're actually going to be launching a new site on February 23rd with my next mixtape called Vintage Vault to promote the album.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope. All right, man. I got to take it there because just as a fan, I just want to hear it from you. A few years ago, you had a situation where you thought that a joint was an idea of a song was taken by Nas from you. Okay? So I wanted to ask you, years later, looking back, was that situation resolved?
I don't think so, because basically Chris Webber never manned up. He was the producer behind the beat. Like I said, I know for sure he had my track, back in the day, and I only had it up for promo. It's a joint called As the Art Fades Away. It actually kicks off my album. It's a new version, of course, but, I know firsthand because a friend of mine got him the track, so it wasn't a coincidence that, Nas had this similar track, so forth, that he produced. It's just he never manned up, Nas and I, A&R, we talked. It was set up through Hip Hop DX. But like I said, Chris Webber never manned up to it, and he even did little corny stuff like however you want to say it, he wasn't my friend anymore on MySpace. He made sure he wasn't connected to me anyway. So, the situation was what it was. I always feel like God has a path for me, you know what I mean? And that situation happened for a reason. I never wanted to be involved with it for notoriety at all. It just kind of worked out that way because I had that track on my MySpace for so long. And I guess at that time, too, I didn't really realize how many people were really checking for me, and the internet was chattering. So I had to finally put out a statement about it, and it ended up blowing up into a big situation. But, I still would love to work with Nas. He's one of my favorite artists, you know what I mean? And do I know if he was one of the big reasons or he ever heard my track? I don't know, but I know Chris Webber did, so.
All right, that's what I was going to ask, if you point the finger at Nas or you point the finger at the A&R, but clearly you're saying it's the A&R.
I would say so, yeah. I would say so, man. I think I felt like he knew what was up, because when we had the talk on the phone between Hip Hop DX, man, he was just real shady on the phone. I mean, just wasn't making any sense. It didn't even sound like he was prepared to even talk to me. You know what I mean? I went in there prepared. He wasn't even prepared. You know what I mean? So that told me a lot about the situation.
Right, and I feel you, because you can copyright lyrics, you can publish songs, but you can't really do that for an idea. You know what I'm saying? For an idea of a song. And I went through a similar situation many years ago where I sent the song to an A&R, and I'm not going to say any names, but a famous rapper came up with the same theme, and it ended up being a #1 record. So they didn't steal the lyrics, they didn't steal the beat, they didn't steal the hook, but they stole the idea.
Wow. Well, see, with my situation, man, Dub, I got to say he pretty much stole, I feel like, the whole concept, even down to the producer, because he kicked off Surviving the Times the same way my producer kicked off my track. You know what I mean? Same bass line and everything. And pretty much the only changes, he used a different section of a sample than my producer did, but the arrangement of the track was so similar. And then, like you said, just the subject title, mine being As the Art Fades Away, Nas talking about Surviving the Times, the same thing. I'm talking about the art fading away and us surviving. You did a version called Surviving the Times, the same thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, come on, man. You can't be more blatant with that.
Right.
So,
All right, man. Well, you got your album with Chubb Rock that you dropped in the fall. That's out there circulating.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Vintage Experience coming out. We're looking at March, correct?
Yeah, March 30th, man. I did a distribution deal with Red Eye. Definitely shout to them. So March 30th.
All right, man. We're looking forward to that 4-chapter album.
Yes, definitely, man. I hope you guys check it. I know you guys are hip-hop fans, man. So I hope you guys definitely would check it when it drops. I'll be giving y'all a copy, so bump that.
No. I'm going to cop it.
I appreciate that. I'm still gonna give y'all a copy though.
All right, cool. I'll give the copy. You give the me to a friend.
Sounds good.
And then I'll cop one for myself.
And we're about to blast off with your joint right now, man.
Oh, y'all got hookup coming up?
Yep.
Of course.
Oh, nice. I appreciate that support with that, fellas, man.
All right, no doubt. Wordsmith, we appreciate you taking some time out and checking in on the On Air Idiot Show, bro.
Hey, man, it's not a problem, man. I want to tell you guys I appreciate the questions, man. They were excellent. I don't know if people tell you guys that enough, but love the interview. I appreciate the questions. Appreciate you guys doing research, knowing about my career as well. I feel like that's rare as far as radio right now, too.
We're going to talk to you. We're going to keep in touch, all right?
On Air Idiots.